What's up, guys? You may have noticed that I don't like to talk about what's the most optimal split as much as a lot of guys do, but I just got finished with a really awesome shoulder and upper back workout, so I'm kind of fired up to talk about it because there's something awesome about taking a bunch of exercises that you really love individually and then making them pair even better together for an awesome whole, and that's totally what this particular split accomplishes. It's the same split that's found in my Silver Space Marine program, if you've seen that. Not the same exercises, those are tailored more towards what's working for me right now, but same basic idea. So I'll walk you through my process and how I set up splits, and I'll also just show you my approach to hypertrophy. This is not going to be what you think of in terms of exercise selection as an optimal hypertrophy workout, but watch the whole thing and tell me this is not optimal for hypertrophy. I dare you. All right, hope you guys enjoy. So this is my first warm up. It doesn't really have anything to do with the theme of the day, shoulders and upper back, but I like the superset finger expanders and grippers as a warm up before any pressing, just as a way to warm up the elbows and also get some grip in at the same time. These are from the Golden Grip Shop. They sent me these along with some other awesome grip tools. I haven't been able to implement a full grip regimen yet as I'm barely getting the basics sometimes right now, but this is a great way to get some quick grip in while I'm warming up. Now, I only dual wield in the first set. After that, I get serious. I know it looks silly. But what I love about these is that they start really light with a great progression so you can easily warm up before closing the heavier ones. And the finger expanders also have much more resistance than other brands I've tried. These are excellent products that I'd happily recommend. And thanks to the kind folks at the Golden Grip Shop for being patient with me. I'll get on that grip training, I promise. So the second warm up is the Kelly Snatch. If you bought one of my programs, you may have seen it in there and wondered what the hell because it looks weird, but it's legitimately a fantastic shoulder warm up. The stretch on the bicep, stabilizing rear delt work, wakes up the triceps, teres majors. I use this before any pressing work. It really helps my shoulders out a lot. Now onto the meat and potatoes. My main movement for shoulders today is the banded handstand push-up. Now this is an excellent movement that allows great range of motion, but is also exceedingly grindable, which is definitely a major plus. On some of my sets after this, you should definitely see some long grinds. Um, the grip also feels great on my shoulders, so this is definitely a movement that I want to have in my program. The only problem with that is it doesn't only work the pushing muscles, there's also a significant back component to it as well. If I do these now and then hit back tomorrow, DOMs might get in the way. And that is where I bring in the exercise based split. Instead of starting with a template like push pull legs, upper lower, or whatever, and then trying to make exercises fit into those, I start with the exercises that are highest priority for me to hit and then figure out what plays well together. For example, I'm supersetting wide grip pull ups here. You can't see well with this angle, but I'm basically maxed out on width on an extra wide deadlift bar. Extra long, I guess you would say. Now, not only do these obviously hit the lats, teres majors, and whatnot, they also hit the rear delts very hard, and that's a big part of how I made some significant rear delt gains this year. But what you might not have guessed is they also hit the side delts to a significant degree. They make my side delts significantly sore, and on the flip side, I've noticed that when I just hit delts the day before and my side delts are sore, these are much harder. So now I train them together and let them recover together, and that works really great. I've been steadily progressing on both of them throughout the year, and I've massively reduced the band tension on the push ups, started adding weight in the pull ups, so I think the gains are going to accelerate from here. So my next movement is one that again crosses the boundary from back to shoulder. These side pullovers are fantastic, one of my favorite movements, but even more so than the previous movements, this one really lends itself to a workout that trains shoulders and upper back together. As you might imagine, it's awesome for the teres majors, and if you brace your foot the way I'm showing, you'll actually get a nice stretch for the lats and QL. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a growth stimulus, but the stretch is very nice, probably healthy, feels really good. But where it absolutely provides a stimulus is to the rear and side delts. Okay, it absolutely smokes both of them. The rear delts, obviously, that makes sense why they would get hit. Side delts, I don't really understand why, but either way, it works and makes combining the two a good idea. We always talk about it's hard to put the side delts under stretch. I don't know how stretched they really are in this, but it sure feels like they're. It isn't. They seem somewhat shortened, but it feels stretchy. I don't know why. Anyway, weird, but it works. Whatever. Anyway, moving on, we have my variation on upright rows using a landmine hold. I've never been able to connect with traditional upright rows very well. I wanted to like them, but they didn't agree with me for some reason. I never felt great off of them. But this unilateral method works very well. I get a great pump in the side delt, some rear delt activation as well. You know, some people may get more upper back involvement from this. I don't really feel it much. I'm not saying it's not involved, but I don't really get much stimulus out of it. I think it's just too light of loading. But either way, it's a great accessory that pairs really well with split choice. Now, so far, I've just talked about the pairing of shoulders and upper back, but let's talk about some other splits I like to do, or workouts rather. I no longer have a traditional leg day, and that's just because my favorite leg movements right now don't pair especially well together and go way better with something else. For example, my favorite hamstring exercises like RDLs, Jefferson curls, Zercher deadlifts, do way more for the back than they do for the quads. Whereas my favorite quad exercises like sissy squats or, goblet squats have fairly minimal hamstring involvement. So it makes more sense to just have a posterior chain day that combines hamstrings, glutes, and low back with a quads slash hip flexors slash abs day. Anyone who's purchased one of my programs probably have noticed that unconventional split, and that's why. I don't think the split itself is magic. I don't care about it. I just think that the exercises are awesome, so I'd rather make a split around them rather than try to make them fit into a split they don't fit especially well in. Why not full body? I mean, I like big movement, so in a way it kind of is. But actually stimulating everything effectively in one workout just takes too much time, at least for me. Much more efficient to focus on several targets and give them time to recover together, while obviously not shying away from big movements that involve the whole body, even if you wouldn't say they are effective training stimulus. So now my last exercise, neck bridge pullovers. You may be wondering why. Well, you might have noticed that my upper back work hasn't been super lat focused so far, so I want to add a little more isolation for them. And this movement, believe it or not, does that really well. The angle makes it a lot like a lat prayer, but because you're using free weights, the stretch is way better. And unlike most free weight pullovers where you can't really shrug up to fully stretch the lats because your shoulders are anchored, your shoulders are actually free to do that here because they're free floating. Plus, the lats already get some activation for maintaining the arch, so it's just a fantastic exercise for them. And no, the neck is not the limiting factor if you've trained them, and you definitely should have a very well trained neck before you try these. I actually put these in parking lot bodybuilding because they're such an awesome exercise, but I expect most people will have to go with the scaling option I included at least initially until you train your neck up to where you can do these. But it is fantastic exercise. Okay, so for those of you working through my programs, I hope that it helps to explain some of the whys. And for those of you just trying to figure out how I structure my training since I use unconventional exercises, I hope this helps. Unconventional, yes, but you have to admit they look pretty effective. They have a solid rationale, they work really well together, they feel great. They're not what you're used to seeing every day, and that's okay. But watch some of these grinds and tell me that I could push so much harder if I had more stability or whatever. It's nonsense. Cool exercises can absolutely be great for hypertrophy. In fact, in some cases, better. If that appeals to you, check my links or just come up with your own program. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.